how many of you would like to be able to do webinars for your offline to get clients? And, wouldn't that be cool? Be a little bit easier to get, be a little easier to get a bunch of people in a room instead of going to one at a time, right? All right, cool. So what are we going to be covering tonight? Tonight, we are going to have several things on tap. The first thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about how do we target these small businesses? How do we, get in front of them and, put our webinar in front of them so that they have a chance to opt in. And right along with that, how do we get them to show up? How do we get these folks to show up and to make sure that they're excited about it and that they come out and they're ready to go. After that, how do we structure the webinar? So we're going to go through structure a little bit, and I'm going to give you guys some good ideas on what we're doing there. And then we're going to be talking about the follow-up sequence. How do you, if they don't buy right away, what do you do? If they do buy right away, what do you do? So those are the things I'm going to be covering tonight, and you guys are going to be getting some cool tricks. So if you happen to make it out to the call tonight, you are in luck. All right, so if you are ready to go and you're ready to learn all the stuff that we just talked about, give me a yes. Let me know that you're ready to jam and ready to rock this stuff out. And while you're doing that, I'm going to take a quick little sip of water. All right. Very, very good. Let's get to it. Let's get to it. So first things first. First things first is how do we target small business owners? So I would love to be one of those guys that could just stick in slides, but sticking in the slides tonight is just not going to work. So I'm going to tell you right now, this first section, we're going to be talking all about how we target small business owners as well as how do we get them to show up. So first things first, let's dive in, and I'm actually going to switch over to a browser. So let's switch over to the browser real quick so you guys can see my screen, and as soon as you guys see this, I want you to let me know. All right, so as soon as you can see my ugly mug on the screen, please say yes in the questions box so I know that that's showing up. All right, good. You can see the fire that I walked on too, right? So, sweet. All right, so first things first is how do we target these small business owners? How many of you in the room tonight have ever used Facebook ads before? I know if you're hanging out with me much, you've probably used Facebook ads once or maybe a million times. But let's get into this a little in depth as to how you would target these small business owners. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump in over here, and this is the Facebook ad screen. So you're looking at the screen that you'd be looking at if we were to get into Facebook ads. So how you get to that is facebook.com/ads. And then you're going to hit the create a new ad button, or just facebook.com/ads/create. And this is going to take you into the ad manager. So what we're going to be doing first is, let's say, for instance, that we had GoToWebinar open and we were ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and open GoToWebinar. Let's go ahead and open GoToWebinar. Let's log in real quick. And after we log in, we are going to jump in and take a look at how we would actually do this, okay? So what I'm doing is I'm opening up a list of webinars that I've got in play, and let's actually jump down, and I've got one set up here, and this is going to be an example for tonight. So this is what we've got. This is our link. Let's go ahead and click that link. All right, you guys can see this is the webinar that we are going to be running to small businesses. So it's called Small Business Facebook Secrets, right? Everybody see that? Small Business Facebook Secrets. So this is the webinar that I actually want to run my folks to. So this could be a page that we would use as our ad setup, right? Everybody agree we could put this URL inside of the ad and everything would be good, right? So we put that in there and we're good to go, right? So we could do that. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't want you to do that. I don't want you to do that at all. But if you didn't want to get all in depth with this stuff, you absolutely could do that. So let's just assume right now that we're typing in some sort of URL. So I'm just going to pick one of my pages, okay? And you're really going to dig this. So the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to pick one of my pages that actually has a video on it. And if you've ever wondered how these cats are running these cool video ads, tonight you're going to learn how to do that. Okay, so First things first, I'm going to select a page that I know I already have a video on, and I can show you how to do the videos if you'd like. But what we're going to do is we're going to pick a page, and then I'm going to select Promote Page Post. If you're following me thus far, just say you're following me so far. So we're going to Promote Page Post. Okay? So on this, I'm going to pick a post where I have a video set up. Everybody see that and see how that works. Everybody kind of see what we're doing there? Now, obviously, this particular video would need to be a video that was pitching your webinar. Does everybody understand that? Whatever video we've got in the bag, it needs to be something that's actually pitching your webinar. Okay? So what we're going to do is, I'm going to show you what this page looks like real quick so you can see basically what we're doing. We're jumping over to my Facebook page, and I'm going to show you what this post looks like. This post looks like this. Everybody see that? Now, here's the really cool thing. The really cool thing is when somebody were to click on this, they see this ad, we got a good little headline for them, whatever, and what happens is they click on this ad and it's actually going to be like a pop-up. Have you guys ever clicked on a video ad and wondered how they got that cool pop-up to happen? How many in the room right now have wondered, they've clicked on a video ad and it's like popped up and it's ready to go? So basically how you do that, I'm going to tell you guys how to do that. Then we'll get into how to actually structure the video and all that. But what you're doing is you're going in here and you're going to actually, no, it's not the same as promote link below the post. Not exactly. You don't want to do that actually. And the reason is you won't get all the cool targeting options. So what we've got here is we're going to post a photo or video, and then we're going to choose a file where our video sits, and we're going to upload that. Everybody follow me thus far on that? Real simple, right? Just like you're typing in a status or uploading a photo. You're going to click this. You're going to do post a photo or video, and then you're going to upload your video. Pretty simple, right? As soon as you do that, and we're going to get to some magic here in a minute, by the way, but as soon as you do that and the post is uploaded and it's ready to go, what you're going to type in the status update is the link that leads to your webinar. So the link that leads to your webinar. So we could just take this post right here, right? Right? We could take this post right here and we could put it in as the link that goes with our video. Everybody's being a little quiet, so you're either taking notes or you're not following me at all. So I want to make sure everybody's good. All right. And then what you want to do is you want to have something to the effect of, let me write this in here. Click here to sign up for the free call. Everybody there? Cool. Cool. So click here to sign up for the free call. Now, once you post this, it's going to set up something that kind of looks like this. You see how it's got, what is Facebook Edge Rank? Click here to find out. And then for more, visit benatkins.com. That's what the link would look like if we uploaded that video. So once this post is in place, we're going to go into ads. We're going to target the page that holds that post. We're going to promote page post. We're going to select our stuff and go here. Can you have the registration right within Facebook? Technically, you can, but it's not the easiest thing. Okay, and I would not exactly recommend the way to do it. It requires some special software. Go with me on this. I'm going to teach you guys the easy way. There's a couple special softwares that we're going to go through tonight. I can tell you about that one later. This one in particular, though, I'm going to show you how to do this. So everybody get how we've got the video post here. So you see that when you click this video, it's going to be, I'm going to basically be on the screen saying, hey, I'm Dr. Ben Atkins, and I help small businesses just like you every day on Facebook and learn how to grow your business on Facebook. So what I want you to do is, if you want to learn the 3 things you can do in the next 7 days, to make your page explode and get more business, then all you got to do is click the link right around this video and register for our upcoming call where I'm going to give you all those things for free. Everybody follow me? And that's a pretty weak pitch, but you guys get the idea, right? So that's what we've got. Now, what's the next question all of you should have? So we got our video in place. We're pitching to these small business owners. We're talking about what we've got. We've got our webinar that we're going to be promoting. What is the next question? What should everybody be asking me right now? How do we target the right people? How do we target the right people? So are we just going to run a Facebook ad to anybody and everybody, or how are we actually going to target the right people for the stuff that we want to sell? Okay, so let's do this. Let's do this. So here's what we're going to do. Let's get down into the choose your audience section. The choose your audience section. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to jump down here, and I'm going to select, I'm going to go probably 24 and up-ish. 22, 23 is fine. We're going to select that crowd. And then I'm going to target by city. So who wants to target a particular city? Give me a city and we'll target it, guys. It can be as big or small as you want. Let's see. We got St. Louis. We got Los Gatos. We got Seattle. Let's do Seattle. I haven't done Seattle yet. All right, so let's do Seattle. We're going to type in Seattle. And so we've got Seattle. Seattle's telling us that people over 22, that's the number of people that we're going to be targeting. Now, here's the cool thing. Everybody watching, you see this broad category section? You see this broad category section? So we're going to select that. And here's the magic box. Interesting, right? Everybody see that? So we got small business owners there. Real simple, real cheap, real easy to use. Now, what else could we possibly do in here? What else could we possibly target? What other information do people give us if they're a small business? A lot of them will straight up type in that they're the owner of something, right? They're the owner of some business. So if they're the owner of some business, they'll give us that information. You guys see how much that throws up in the Seattle area. So you guys see a couple of different ways that you can target these people that own their own business. And just to give you an idea of what this actually looks like, I'll show you. So see this? Who asked for Seattle? That was, I believe it was Cheryl. Cheryl Bradley asked us for Seattle. So you see how someone will throw in an owner CEO thing here in their description? That's basically what we're after. And that's what we're targeting. Now, is it a possibility that we'll be targeting some people who are not business owners? Yeah, it's possible. Do we really care? No. The idea is we're going to get a lot of these business owners with that targeting. And that's really what we're after. So everybody following this far, you see what kind of ad we're going to put together. You're going to see the targeting that we're going to put together. Everybody good? Cool. So everybody kind of sees where we're going with this so far. Does everybody feel like you just got a really powerful tool for your offline business? No matter what you're doing, if we were to end the call right now, extremely powerful tool for getting a message in front of a business and to advertise your services to offline businesses. Okay. Cool. Cool. So here's what we got. So we're going to move on here. And as we move down the line, I'm going to say, this is my small biz ad. And then I'm going to put however much I want to put in per day. Okay. So we got that. We got that ready to go. This ad is pretty much ready to run as long as I've got my video in and everything's ready to go. So we got that set up. And it's ready to go. Now, do you guys want to send straight to with your link, do you want to send straight to the GoToWebinar page, Or would you rather we do a little trickery? Who wants to do a little trickery here? We're getting a little trickery, right? All right, so here's what we're going to do. Would you rather just, and this is the question, would you rather send them to just a page that gets them in the GoToWebinar, or would you rather send them to a place that possibly gets them into your autoresponder plus the webinar at the same time? Who wants to get both? All right, so we got a lot of people. So James says Drool City. I love it. I love it. Why do we want to send to the opt-in? We know they're a small business owner. Now that we know that they're interested in possibly learning more about Facebook, we can follow up with them more. And let me ask you guys something. Is your ad spend, everything you spend on these ads, now worth more if you've got these people on a list too? Yeah, you're getting more for your money. So how do you do that? How do you do that? Now, I know a lot of you have a bunch of different autoresponders, but tonight I'm going to be basically showing you how to do this with GetResponse. Okay, so I've got a GetResponse basically set up, and I've got GoToWebinar set up, and I'm going to show you how to bust this together with GetResponse. There's a lot of different ways you can do this. How many of you have heard of the tool Zapier? And if you've bought any of my products, you've probably heard of this before. Okay. All right, so here's what I'm going to show you. So I'm going to open up a tool for you. This tool is called Zapier. Okay. Gary, if you're losing audio, brother, jump out and jump back in, and hopefully that'll help kind of clear your connection out. Okay, so this is Zapier. Now, what does Zapier do? What does Zapier do? Zapier will basically make things that you guys use all the time work together. It's pretty much that simple, okay? So how many of you want me to dive in and show you an example of what Zapier does? All right, let's do it. So I'm going to log into Zapier. Usually it logs in automatically for me, by the way. And we are going to set up a brand new, what they call a Zap, okay? I know I'm moving fast tonight, but I want to get you guys a lot of good information, okay? And I got a lot to cover tonight. So what we've got is what we call a Zap. So we got this Zap, and we're going to set this up. So what you have here is what you would call a trigger service and an action service. So there's going to be something that triggers the Zap to work, and we're going to have something that's an action because we triggered that service. So let's jump in here real quick. So the first thing I want to do is I want to, whenever they sign up to my GetResponse list, so I've found GetResponse here, whenever they sign up as a new contact in GetResponse, I want to also register them to GoToWebinar. So I'm going to, every time I got a new contact on a certain list, I'm going to create a new registrant. Pretty cool, right? Now, what it's going to do next is it's going to ask me, it's going to say, you know, Ben, what account do you actually want to use? Which GetResponse account of yours do you want to use? Because some of you may be like me and you have more than one. So I'm actually going to use, let's just say my GetResponse account that I've got set up here. So we're going to use my GetResponse account. And then you can click to test the account to make sure everything's good. I'm going to go ahead and go through, though. And then you can set up GoToWebinar. And you can connect the two. Everybody cool? Pretty darn good so far? We blowing anybody's minds yet? I hope so. I hope I'm getting you into some cool stuff here, okay? So what we got here is we are going to jump in and we're going to select our campaign. So I've got my small business list. So now I've got my small business list. That's the list that's selected. And now I've got GoToWebinar, and it's going to ask me which webinar I actually want to connect. And now it's going to let me put the information in to connect those two. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, all right, so I'm going to put my name fields in, my emails in. So I'm going to click this little button here with the GetResponse symbol. And in the first name, actually, I don't want to put anything. I'm going to put a little dash. Okay, and I'll show you why we do that in just a second. But I'm going to put a little bit of a dash there. So there's a dash in first name. Now, you guys are getting a lot of experience here. I beat the crap out of this service, and I've run thousands upon thousands of people through this and registered them to webinars and put them on a list. So just so you know, you're getting a lot of experience here, so you don't have to do all the crap that I did to learn how to use this. So you're going to put a little dash in the first name section. In the last name section, you're going to put their email address. All right, pretty simple, right? Or actually, let's jump in. Let's actually put their name. Let's take out, and that's where I screwed that up. Let's put their name. A lot of times I will put their email address just because I want that to be the predominating field. But let's go ahead and put the name in there. And then email, of course, you guys know we're putting email in. Any questions on that? Everybody cool? Ready to move on? All right, so here we go. We're going to click continue. And it's going to ask me if we're ready to go with this. And yes, I'm ready to go. You name your thing. I'm going to name it Small Biz Sign Up. Sai says I'm moving at a good pace. The rest of you guys doing good? Give me some feedback here real quick, just so I know you're doing good. I know I'm going fast and there's a lot of notes being taken, but just want to make sure. Good. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. So we've got this. Now, what do we do? What do we do? What's the next thing we do? Instead of sending them to this page, we basically want to create a page that looks like this, but instead of these here, we want to have a get response form. Everybody follow me? You want to create a form and get response to get them onto the get response list, and then they'll be signed up to the webinar too. So basically, you're going to be putting together an opt-in page, and the sneaky thing you're doing is you're taking the same text and moving it over to the opt-in page. So you can use OptimizePress. You can use anything like that that will use your form. That cool, everybody? Kind of got that? Jess says, is this a sneak peek? I don't guess I follow. So cool. So now what we're going to do, instead of putting this page in, we are going to build our own page. You can use OptimizePress. You can use whatever. You're going to put your get response form inside of that. They're going to put their name, their email, or whatever. And then they'll be registered to both your get response list and GoToWebinar. Okay, so at this point, when we run the ad, we get people set up. We get people set up. We get them on our list so we can market to them later, and we also get them into the webinar. So everybody see that we've accomplished that so far. Good. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we are going to make sure that they show up to the webinar by basically GoToWebinar will send out a few emails, right? Pretty easy. GoToWebinar will send out a couple emails. What we also want to do is we want to send out emails to the list. So we're going to use GetResponse to actually send out emails to our list. Okay? So next thing we've got. Lynn, I have not. I don't know if that's a covered service or not. I'd have to look. They would tell you, though. So we've got both those things now. Now, here's one of the ninja tricks. Do you think you just need one get response list, or do you think you need two get response lists? Very good. Two. Everybody knew the answer just by the way I talked it, okay? All right, so what we're going to do is this. We've got one get response list that's for everybody that wants to go to our webinar, right? So that's good to go. What do you think the other get response list is? What do you think the other get response list is for? The other get response list is this. So everybody that registers is on one. Tatiana nailed it. Everybody that buys from us is on the other. And here's what we're going to do. Everybody that buys from us, we're going to use automation and get response to pull them off of one list which is our registrant list, and put them onto our buyers list. Why would we want to make that distinction? And if you guys want me to show you the automation, please say so. Yeah. So we've got a buyers list. We've got a buyers list. And we've got a prospect list. So what are we going to basically be sending to the buyers? The buyers are system updates. Maybe we have upsells that we can send them. Lots of different things, right? So I'm going to jump inside of Get Response, and I'm going to show you basically how to do this, okay? So I'm going to open up my Get Response here. Can everybody see my Get Response dashboard? This is one of my Get Response accounts. Okay, cool. So what we're going to do is you're going to have this little section at the top that says your current campaign. And if you go down the list, you can see that there's a little section that says automation. So we're going to click that. And then it's going to give us a place that we can actually put in some rules. How many of you guys thought you'd get all this technical crap tonight, right? So what's going to happen is we're going to have some if-then statements, okay? So what we're going to do is if they are subscribed, we're going to remove from. So our current list would be the one they signed up to first, the small business. So if subscribed to the small business list, we want to remove from whatever. Now, what we would actually do is this first list here would be our sales list. So if our sales list, let's say, is the, and I'm just going to pick one, our preppers list. Let's say that's the list of people that have bought. We want to say if subscribed to the preppers list, we want to remove from the small business list, which is the list they signed up to if they registered for the webinar. Does everybody follow that? And if not, please let me know, because this stuff can get confusing. Just let me know if you didn't follow it. Cool. Cool. Everybody seems to be getting this. And if not, go back to the replay and everything's good. So what we're going to do is we are going to plan a follow-up sequence. We're going to basically plan a follow-up sequence, and I'll tell you what, I'll go over that here in a couple minutes. That cool? I'll go over follow-up here in just a couple minutes. So let's take a brief minute, and I want to recap. Does everybody know how to get leads from Facebook, how to basically put a video in front of them inviting them to the webinar, and then how to register them to the webinar so that they're on the list and in GoToWebinar? Everybody following that? If I get a bunch of yeses, I'll keep going. Good, 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 good. All right, so we're going to switch screens again, in theory. All right, when you guys can see my screen again, let me know. We should have just switched over to how we structure the webinar. All right, so I'm going to have to kind of barrel through this, but I want to kind of give you guys a good idea of what we're actually doing on the webinar, okay? So remember, when they register for our webinar, we're basically going to be giving them a small introduction, and we're going to be talking about what we're going to be talking about in the webinar. Now, we want to make sure whatever we told them that they were going to get on that webinar, they're absolutely getting it. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do an intro. I'm going to say, hi, my name is Ben Atkins, and then I'm going to tell a small story about how I got started with Facebook marketing, how I got into this thing, what is it that makes me the expert. Everybody see why we have to do that? We have to give them reasons that they're listening to us. Okay? The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tell them what they can expect. I'm going to make sure that in the next section, I'm going to tell them, hey, you know what? Over the next little bit, I'm going to show you how you can change your business and get a ton of leads and a ton of people to come buy from you in the next 12 months off of a small Facebook page that you run. It doesn't have to be a huge Facebook page. It can be a small Facebook page, but I'm going to show you how to run that page so that you get more people to buy from you. And that's just an example, obviously. And then I'm going to say, you know what, guys? I know you're busy. I know you're, business owners. You don't have a lot of time. You're just like me. So I'm going to keep this presentation down to 45 minutes. Everybody understand why we would do that? Why would we give them a time? The reason is we don't want them to think we're going to keep them on forever. These people are busy. So we have to give them a time. And I like to tell them, if we get to 45 minutes and we're not done, we'll be cutting it off because I'm a time stickler. Okay? So that's the key. So the next thing is, exactly, James, it's just like pickup. So the next thing is I tell them what we're going to cover. What do I start all my webinars with you guys? Pretty much the same thing, right? Every webinar we do, I tell you, hey, we're probably going to be quick tonight. It's going to be about 30 minutes. Or, and then I'm going to say, this is what we're going to cover tonight, so you guys know exactly what's coming. Does that make you feel more comfortable when you know exactly how long it's going to be and exactly what you're about to learn? If you're anything like me, it makes you decide whether you're going to stick around for the whole call or not, right? Or like whether or not you really should have come to the call. So that's the thing. We want to introduce those things so that there is things that you're waiting for. Okay, after that, we're going to go through content and teaching. Now, when you're doing an offline webinar, what kind of stuff do you think you're going to be teaching? Let's say we were doing a webinar on building a website with WordPress because we sell WordPress websites. Or maybe we sell websites to people and we're going to sell those things. What would be a good webinar topic? How would we do that? If we're selling websites, how would we give a webinar on that? I'm going to give you a standard way to do this. What I would do, I would basically walk them through, I would show them a website that wasn't that great, that would look kind of old school. And then what I would show them is how we could take all the content on that old website, maybe it's their website, take all that content on that old website, and then literally I would walk them through buying the domain name, setting up the domain and redirecting it. Obviously, you don't want to do that on a call because it could take forever. But then I would show them exactly how I would build them a new website and set everything up and move the content over and get everything done. Does that seem like a dangerous thing to do for someone, showing them how to do something you're selling? What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Does that sound like something that would be extremely dangerous? Here's the beauty of it. When you actually show them the kind of work that is involved with putting a website together, they're going to be overwhelmed. How many of you have ever tried to show one of your friends something and literally they couldn't follow you? Like they were like, what did you just do? You made that look so easy, but what did you just do? Right. So what they want to see is they want to see how you take an old website, because this is what you just did. You took an old website, which they're going to picture as their website, and how you turn it into something beautiful because you are extremely skilled. Do you see how that works? Do you see how in a very subtle way you've proven that you are an expert in a very short amount of time? It's super easy to do. Super, super easy to do. But when we cover content, that's what we're doing. We're proving that we're an expert by moving through things, showing them how they would do it, so they think, hey, I'm getting great content. I'm learning how to do something that I can take into my own business. And then we're showing them kind of how hard it is. Now, let me ask you guys something. Are some people going to try to go build that website? Are some people going to take the stuff we did and they're going to, yeah. What do you think's going to happen? What do you think's going to happen? Do you think they're probably going to get frustrated? It's going to take them way too long. And then who is someone that they now trust? Who is someone that they now trust? And it's you. You, exactly. You taught them how to do something very, very cool that they would not have known how to do before. So you've become a trusted advisor. And if you have a good follow-up sequence, you may not even sell them right there when they see how hard it is and you make your pitch. But you may get them interested in your company enough to call you later. Now, two kinds of pitches. How many of you do one-time fees? How many of you have services that are one-time fees and that's the only thing you do? How many of you do services where they pay you every month? All right, let me ask you something. What do you think's harder to sell on a webinar? What do you think is harder to sell on a webinar? Recurring. That monthly fee is always harder to sell on a webinar because they have to think, I may be paying this forever, right? So what do you think you can do if you have something that's recurring that's a high monthly fee? Because a lot of you do. A lot of you have things that are a high monthly fee. What would you do if you had that? Like maybe you're like me and your main service is $1,000 a month with a 12-month contract. Do you send them right to a buy button? You could. You think that's the best way? No. Here's what we do. And I'm just going to give you guys a little inside information. What we do is this. We send them to, I basically say, okay, guys, there is 100 people on the call right now, or there's 10 people on the call, there's 50 people on the call. I'll tell them how many people are on the call. And then I'll say, today only we have 5 spots, or we've got 2 spots, and we don't have much room, but I've got a couple spots for our social media management service. There's nothing to buy today, but if you're interested in working with my company, so we do all the things that I just showed you for you, then I'm going to give you a link to a form that you can go fill out. Why does that work? Why does sending them to that form and telling them there's only 2 spots, and yeah, it works. It works very good. So they go fill the form out, and then what do we do with the information that they filled on the form? So they gave us their phone number. They gave us a little bit of a story about, you know, what they've done with social media. You know, whatever you guys are selling, that's what the form should reflect. What do we do after they do that? Get them on the phone. We pick up the phone and we contact them, and now we have a list of answers. We know some of the problems they're facing, and now we can answer specific questions. What happens when you take these folks, so maybe you get 20 leads through the door out of 100, and you start connecting with these people on the phone. Do you think you're more likely to sell them a $1,000 monthly service when you're on the phone with them one-on-one or when you're on the webinar? Now, you're probably going to sell some on the webinar if you want to, but getting them one-on-one is always easier. Getting them face-to-face, always easier. But do you see how this model and putting them to a form on a very expensive item is good? Now, what if you're only charging $500? Like, you're going to build them a website and you're going to build it for $500. Usually you charge $2,000, but you're going to build it for them for $500 if they buy today. Should you send them to a form? What do you think? Should you send them to a form or a buy button? I think you all know the answer. Send them right to the buy button. Right to that stinking buy button right away. Let them buy. When they buy, then you put them to a form so you can contact them after. And that's the best way to do that. But if you've got something that's a little bit more expensive, it's a monthly fee, you know, they're going to have to commit for at least 12 months, you want to give them that personal attention. But this way, let me ask you something. Would it be easier to cold call these people, or would it be easier to call them after they've watched your webinar, they've sat through everything that you just did, and then they filled out the form too? Yeah, the pre-qualified group wins hands down. Now, how many of you have already learned something and you feel like, holy shit, this opens up the floodgates for me? This absolutely opens up the floodgates. I now don't have to go door to door picking up and cold calling. I can just run a couple ads. Yeah. Now, who wants to learn a little bit more? Who wants to go the extra mile? I know the extra mile is not for everybody, but who wants to go the extra mile? All right, let's do it. Now, do you guys remember? You guys remember those two lists? You guys remember those two lists of people? Yeah. So here's the deal. A couple different ways you can go about this. We've got those two lists of people. So everybody that buys, they go onto our buyers list. We'll manually put them into if we have to. When we send them a buy button, we'll subscribe them to the list. That's great. The ones that don't buy right away, wouldn't it be cool if we put an email sequence to them? Sai says just another aha moment. What happens if everybody, let's say you guys are selling those websites and you were offering those websites for $997, and the only way they got it is if they filled out the form at the end of the call, right? So they had to fill out the form at the end of the call. Now, what if you got those jokers who said, you know what? I don't know if I want to do that right now. Wouldn't it be cool if over the next few days you could send out an autoresponder sequence to those folks that basically told them, hey, we know you didn't fill out the form, but if you're still interested, we're actually going to give you $100 off what was promised on the call if you go fill out the form right now. You don't, to be real honest, you don't even have to promise the discount. What do you have to do in those autoresponder sequences to get more people to fill out the form? What's the one thing you have to do? And this is going to blow some of your minds. Let's say we have a 4-letter autoresponder sequence. So 4 emails that's going out. The first one says, hey, thanks for showing up for the call, or if you missed the call, the replay's here. We had the special deal at the end, and if you fill out the form, you're still eligible for the $1,000 website, which is normally $3,000. But we're going to be closing this down in 3 days. It's all about scarcity. Do you think you're going to have some people that wait until that final email? They will wait until that final email. So on the last day, you'll say you've got 12 hours left to fill out this form before the deal goes away forever. Absolutely, you're going to have. And then you put out one that says, hey, in 3 hours, this deal is going away. If you miss it, game over. Yeah. Yeah. So now you see how you take some folks that didn't fill out the forms, and now you're getting new folks that are becoming warm leads. And you call those folks the very next day after they fill the forms out. Okay? So the thing that you want to do is you want to have a sequence. Now, if you're collecting a phone number, when you first get people to opt in, do you think it would be a good idea to have someone calling the people that didn't sign up too? Yeah, absolutely. Call them, and what kind of information, at the very least, what kind of information can you get from these folks? They're still warm leads. They sat through the webinar or they saw the replay. But you talk to these folks, and at the very least, if they don't end up buying, they can tell you what. What can they tell you if they don't end up buying? That's insanely valuable to you. They can tell you why. Tell you why they didn't buy. Tatiana says, how do I know they saw the replay? Tatiana, you want to see some cool stuff? Or actually, I'll just have to explain this. Tatiana, if you're in GoToWebinar, there is a section that I can basically go down the list and see who came. So I got some of that info. A lot of times what I'll do, Tatiana, is I'll actually, on the call, I'll take screenshots of actually who's in the room by their name. And when I go back and look at the phone numbers and the names that are on them, I'll look and see, okay, did they sit there till the end? And it works. There's a million different ways you can do that, by the way. All right. The other thing I want to mention is offer elasticity. How many of you are charging the lowest price you can possibly charge when you're doing your webinars, or when you're giving, or when you're charging people for your service? Who's doing that? So when you first present your offer, especially on the webinar, my advice would be don't charge the lowest you can. So if your lowest charge is $600 on the webinar, don't charge $600. Charge $900. Okay? And then when you call them and you do the follow-up and they tell you and they say, the reason I couldn't buy is I just can't afford $900 right now. You say, well, that's cool. Thank you very much. I appreciate you being honest with me. And if for some reason, we get something to come down, I'll call you back. Easy, right? A couple days later, you call them back and say, hey, if you guys are still interested, I got approval to get it down to 600 for you. If you guys would be still interested, you've got 48 hours to take advantage of the deal. Easy, right? Is it intrusive? No, it's not bad. But you have to have some offer elasticity. If you can't move down a little bit or you can't do something to tease them a little bit more and make them think, I got to take advantage of this while I can, then you got a problem. But if you can give them a better deal, great, right? Awesome. You still made money. You still made money. And that's the key. You want to still make money, and it still needs to be something that's profitable for you. But if you can have a little offer elasticity, you're good to go.